Yes, a double intro. Sorry about that, guys. I was having a little bit of difficulty with my capture solution. As you can see, we've still got the targeting data up on the screen. Apologize for that. Hey, that happens around here sometimes. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. I, of course, am the one, and as far as science knows, only Bill Sylvie, a.k.a. the Dungeon Delver, coming to you on a Monday night. Wheeling Dragon, how are you? How are you? How are you? It is going. And I hope it's going well for you too. We had a fun stream on Saturday. We did some painting. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just kicking back on a Monday night. We have got some stuff to discuss. We got to talk about the week ahead. Had a nominal week. It was what it was. But anyway, Ryan David in the house. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you as well. I hope that you are doing good, sir. By the way, everybody, in case you didn't know this, Ryan has written a lovely little, how should we say, modular edition for your fantasy tabletop games. You should definitely all go check it out. It's called The Village of Greenhaven, and you can find it on Drive-Thru RPG, where it's a, are you up to gold yet? I think you should be up to gold, Ryan. It is an awesome booklet. In fact, I have a rather lovely, oh no, that's right. Is it, where is it? Where are you hiding, Village of Greenhaven? Here it is. I thought it was standing upright, but it's been getting a lot of use lately. So it's not shelved. It is on a shelf, but it's not shelved. Village of Greenhaven, everybody. Check that out. It is definitely worth your $1.99, or if you want a print copy, and I recommend you get a print copy, you're $6.99. It is really, really cool stuff. I like it a lot. Personally, I can't wait for the deluxe 300-page hardback version that I know Ryan's hard at work on. But anyway, Mark Morrison, the Basement Dweller. I didn't want to say Mark Morrison, the Basement Dweller, as if to cram you guys together into some sort of amalgam of user there. But anyway, now they're into the month. Print copy comes with PDF. That's interesting to know. But anyhow, so yeah, it's good to see all you guys. We painted on Saturday. We had more or less fun on Saturday evening. That was pretty cool. We did some painting. And we're going to talk about miniatures. We're going to talk about a little bit of gaming news, not so much tabletop RPG news, but I think this is damn important. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. Exciting week in front of us. Tomorrow night, we return to the slave pits of the Undercity. That's right. We have got a whole raft of characters arrayed, ready to go back into the Pomarge, the Wild Coast, the world of Greyhawk, and put a stop to those pesky slavers. I hope you guys will tune in for that, because let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. If you think if you're like, oh, they're going to sit around and play D&D on television, why would I watch that? Buck up, little buckaroo. Let me tell you why you would enjoy that. You want to watch that because unlike any other live stream TTRPG, if you have questions, we have answers. You ask them in the chat, and I'll answer them. So if you've never played first edition before, or it's been so long that your books crack when you open them, and you're like, hey, I forgot about that. How does that work? Or I've never seen that before. Why does that work? Ask, and I'll tell you. It's not just for your entertainment. It's for your education. And I hope you will come and you will stick around and you will watch it and you will enjoy it. Oh, Wave of Mutilation basements are tight. But anyway, So yes, stop in, stop by, stop through and say hello. Wednesday night, it just keeps getting better. Wednesday night, Kyle Schwant's back. I get to play D&D. Kyle, it's gonna be the same thing. All right, more goodness, right? You guys, Dad's coming into town, and we get to have pizza 2 nights in a row. All right, Kyle's going to be running his Hex Crawl First Edition AD&D game, where I get to play, he gets to DM. Everything is wonderful. So that's going to be cool. Hey, Vile Necromancer, good to see you, my friend. Fist bump. So we're doing that on Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, a special treat. Since you guys have been so good, I know you've cleaned up your rooms. I know you've done all your chores. Thursday night, Heidi Gygax and Eric Garland will be in the house. They're wonderful people, awesome guests. They have cool new projects that they're going to talk about. Their upcoming convention. So I'm stoked about all of those things. And then Friday night, we're going to play some classic Gamma World. So I'm really excited about that. Damien says, I essentially made a paladin of the sun god with a Magitech motorcycle. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds awesome. Thank you for doing that. Thursday night is going to be a blast, Ryan. It's going to be an absolute blast. And because Heidi and Eric, I have so many cool guests lined up. You guys can't even. After the Guac, which is not this week, but next week, after the Guac, we've got Sky Hernstrom, pulp fiction, sword and sorcery author extraordinaire. Sky Hernstrom, he's been a guest on the show before. We're going to get Sky back. Look, no promises, guys. All right. Don't harass, don't bother the person in question. But I'm going to see if Laura Daniel will come and hang out with us again. I loved having Laura on the show. It was not that long ago. So I would love it if we could get Laura back on the show. Gosh, we've got so many other great guests lined up, guys, for the spring into summer. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really, 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 really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys will all tune in to watch those shows. And let me tell you something else you can tune into. You think, Saturday rolls around, oh, spring, I gotta mow the lawn. Oh, I gotta go wash the car because there's pollen all over it. No. You can play hooky. You can play hooky for 3, 4, 5 hours. TTRPG on Saturday. That's assuming you're not doing some of your own. Because guess what? 3:00 Saturday, myself, Dungeon Minister, and Yang An Zhao will have the Nerd Council of Doom. That's right. It's over on Yang's channel this time, but we're going to talk about the important topics of the day. Nerd matters. We're going to talk about those things, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Now, you might say, Bill, 3 to when? You said hours, plural. Let me tell you what else. There is yet more. Because go right over to Nerd Cognito here on YouTube. Check out the Speakeasy. All right. Check out Ryan and Kyle. They will speak truth to power. It's a good stiff shot to warm you up and to fix what ails you. So I hope you guys will do that. Tim has had some good guests on lately. We kind of steal from each other a lot here on YouTube, but it's all good. Hey, you too, Ryan. So we've got hey, no. I'll make sure. That's why I said, the window, we start at 3. So we're all looking forward to that. All Ernie was seen around Gary Con. Yes, Kabuki, that is correct. So that's what's happening, guys, this week. That's Monday into Saturday. I mean, honestly, if you can't find, and that's just off the top of the dome, guys, because let me tell you what, in the chat, Vile Necromancer, he has his own YouTube channel. Go show him some love. Subscribe to that. So does Wheeling Dragon. So does RPG Grandma, even if she's not here. The Dungeon Minister, Yang Yan Zhao. So many great creators, guys. Don't sleep on the cool stuff that's going on. 8-day game looked solid. No great surprises. Milrose solidified. Simpson looks good. Defense and offense in the trenches, solid. I hope that's less than 20 words. Let's move on. Paint Minis Live, good to see you. Many topics, Mages Musings, Mages Mutants. So anyway, to curve back into tabletop topics. So as I said, you need to email me a question. Please do email me a question, Wheeling Dragon. Here, I'm going to write that. I hope you can read my cursive here. Okay, just read the screen before you leave. Your reminder's right there. Shit, that's on my screen. Okay. Anyway, Dungeon Minister, how are you? So anyhow, grooving right along. Where were we? Oh, yeah. We were going to talk about miniatures, weren't we? Yeah. So Saturday, I painted some minis and I finally got some finished and it sort of started pushing me forward again. I got a new set of brushes. I cleaned up a lot of my supplies. I got some big fat makeup brushes to use for dry brushing because dry brushing is the way for mediocre painters to be good painters. So why don't we hop over and take a look at, yeah, Ryan, that's, I don't want to talk about that. But anyway, let's see here. Let's go to table cam, see if that's a good view. It's not a great view. I'll give you that. It's not a great view, but we're going to do what we can with what we must. So let me lean over and show you guys a couple of minis that I got painted up. I'm happy about this. So we have here, not sure if that'll come in focus. That's not even a little bit. So I have a Vrock, and there's another one. What did I do with that? The other one? Did I set him down somewhere? There it is. Thought I had them both over here. So there's nothing super great about those. But the thing about those minis, and as I said, those particular Vrock, they're just 3D printed. Daniel Rowan, what do you want to do with your life? But those particular minis, Luther Pendragon, the Isle of Dread blue cover bad, Isle of Dread blue cover good. But anyway, so the Vrocks there, I 3D printed them because I needed them for an AD&D game a few months ago, and I didn't finish painting them. But I have said, thank you, Wheeling Dragon. I have said And I hold this to be true. Listen while the Delver speaks forth and tells you what time it is. And I got Paint Minis Live backing me up, okay? Monster Minis don't need special detail. Monster Minis, listen to me, don't need special detail. Those two rock minis I just showed you, with what I did last time, this past weekend, and the painting I did on them before, they are maybe 15 minutes a mini. And you can say, yeah, it shows, Bill. But slot painted minis are fine. They're just going to be out there for a second. You need suggestions of color on them, guys. You just need a suggestion of color, because you guys see that? That is the distance you are probably going to see this mini if it's on a table. Big dingy gray wings, ugly red body, yellowish beak. That's it. That's all you need. If you have piles of gray plastic, whether you printed them or bought them, or gray metal languishing on your shelves, spend a day with some paints and some brushes you don't care about, and just go to town slot painting, and you'll have a whole bunch of painted minis. And Sam Lenz is not coming to knock on your door and grade you for Golden Demon or Crystal Brush. You ain't gonna win it. I ain't gonna win it. For care, your IRL play, and here's Doom's sword. Just throwing a spanner right into that. Back when there was a such thing. Well, and the thing about it is, Dooms, is let me show you guys something. Hang on a second. This is an armature with a little less than half of my kobolds on it. If we're playing Keep on the Borderlands and I start setting these guys down, do you really care how this one looks compared to this one or that one or this one? Odds are, all kidding aside, you probably don't. And the reason they're on this is so I can slop paint them quickly. I just haven't done it yet. In fact, they're so dusty. I got to take one of the makeup brushes I bought and dust them off and knock off all the dust. I got two of these with goblins on them too. Same thing. I'm gonna base coat these red, shiny details on the armor, little bit of yellow dot for each eye, ink them, and then they're done. And then that's it. That's literally all I'm going to do. This whole stick is going to take me about 20 minutes to paint. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So, yeah, I'm not gonna live with piles of unpainted plastic anymore, and metal. Those are metal. I bought those before it became chic to do plastic minis. Also, I got those when you could get 5 metal kobolds from Reaper for $6.99. Yes, there was a time. Exactly, Jay. Players grub up monsters when they touch them with Cheeto dust hands anyway. Precisely. Precisely. So there we go. Light Main, hello, how are you? Been listening to the book, my friend. Been listening to the book as I putter around the studio. Good stuff. You're reading, boys. It's very nice. It's very nice. What do I use to stick my minis to the priming board? I'm glad you asked. I use blue tack. Poster tack. It's the consistency of the chewing gum that is under your fifth period algebra class desk. Don't ask me how I know that. But you can use anything for an armature. You guys who saw me painting on Saturday, was it last night or was it Saturday night? I don't remember. I think it was Saturday. I feel like it was Saturday. And you got to warm this stuff up a little bit, by the way. Make it a little bit tacky. This is blue tack. It's just blue tack. You get it good and gummy. You grab a mini. Do I have a mini? Oh, let's use one of the rocks. I don't care if it falls on the floor. If it breaks, I'll glue it back together. If it shatters, I'll print another one and paint it in 15 minutes. But right like that. And that bottom is too smooth, so it won't hold on that very well at all. But you can drill a couple of holes if you want the blue tack to go in there. You can find one that's already blue tacked down. Actually, I can. This is Feetla, the Buccaneer, from the Slave Lords of Suderham set. He has held on a little bit of blue tack. And then that way I don't constantly touch the mini as I paint it. So there you go, guys. So there you go. Blue tack is awesome. Oh, of course, Light Main. I am terrible about leaving thumbs up and comments. I beg you guys to do it all the time. Jay Tyler, this is the 79. This is the 79 Tour of America shirt. And this was a kind of an up and down tour for Zeppelin. They played in Jacksonville and in Lakeland, Florida, which Doomsword knows where Lakeland is. We're on what's called the I-4 corridor. It's the main east-west road across central Florida. There's the I-10 up north. There's the Tamiami Trail down south, and then the I-4 corridor runs across the middle. Well, Lakeland is on that corridor, and Led Zeppelin, at that time, outside of the Citrus Bowl, and Orlando was kind of podunk at that point. Or wait, is this 77? I can't remember if this is 77 or 79. But anyway, when they played Lakeland, torrential downpour. They played 3 songs. Lightning struck the pavilion, the like half shell that they're performing in, and they had to leave. 77. So that was extremely short. But they did come back later. And I believe they came back later and they finished it. Obviously, I didn't see it. When this tour was on, they did play Alabama. They actually played Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham is one of the venues listed on the back. See, I had to find the Zeppelin shirt. You can get the United States of America 77 shirt with the Apollo Fall of Day logo on it. People think it's Icarus. It's not. It's Apollo. You can get these shirts for the most part anywhere with the tour dates on the back. That's kind of the one I want, like the faux real merch. But they played Birmingham, Alabama. Little 7-year-old Bubba Sylvie living in Gadsden, that close to Led Zeppelin. Oh, well, right? So, moving right along, we've talked about that. There's something, and of course I don't have this pulled up already, but let me bring this up, because this is something I think that, by the way, while I'm doing that, if you haven't already, check out this. I've seen Rush twice. They were good both times. They were very precise both times. This may sound like I am slamming Rush. I promise I'm not. I promise you that I am not slamming Rush. If you miss a Rush concert, their concert albums give you, other than being surrounded by people and seeing them in person, the audio is exactly precisely what you would get. Their shows are exceedingly precisely put together. And if you don't like the crowd noises, listen to Chronicles, the 2 CD best of, and you've got a Rush concert. And I don't say that as an insult. It might sound like it, but I don't mean it to be. So this is something that came up, and I want to share this with you guys. This doesn't really have anything to do with TTRPGs, but you know what? Gosh darn it, we should Hey, thank you, Mark Morrison. I was listening to some Molly Hatchet just today. But up, yeah. Because there's a lot of role-playing games on this platform. And I feel like it's a damn worthy thing to talk about. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Dig this. So if you don't know what Discord is, it's an online discussion forum system. If you don't know what a Nintendo Switch is, it is the latest Nintendo console, and it is a portable doohickey. It's basically a giant cell phone, a skinny tablet, and it comes with 2 controllers on it. Discord, the company, Discord, thank you, Vaughn. Discord, the entity, leaped in on the side of Nintendo and choked a bunch of emulation Discords. Let's read this Verge article together. Discord. Now, that's not people on Discord. That is the company Discord. Shut down the servers for Nintendo Switch emulators Suyu and Sudachi and has completely disabled their lead developers' accounts, and the company isn't answering our questions about why it went that far. Both Suyu and Sudachi began forks of Yuzu, the emulator that Nintendo sued out of existence on March 4th. Discord responds and complies with all legal and valid Digital Millennium Copyright Act's requests. In this instant, there was also a court-ordered injunction for the takedown of these materials, and we took action in a manner consistent with a court order, reads part of a statement from Discord Director of Product communication, Kellen Sloan to The Verge. Also, Kellen reports that she did not have a gun being held to her head when she made that order. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That is a joke. The developers of Suyu and Sudachi only received vague messages about how they were sharing content that allegedly violates intellectual property rights, according to images shared with The Verge. Meanwhile, Discord tells us that it's following its normal process for DMCA takedown requests, but it's not as all clear that there was a valid DMCA takedown request or that those communities were actually violating IP rights. And it's quite possible Discord isn't following its own policy by kicking them out. Remember, Nintendo got Yuzu to settle rather than proving its case in court, and the settlement did not give Nintendo the rights to Yuzu's freely copyable GPL3 code. Developers of Yuzu forks also claim that they were changing the code further, among other practices, in an effort to avoid pissing Nintendo off. And that code wasn't hosted on Discord in any case, but it's possible that people were sharing Nintendo cryptographic keys, firmware, or even pirated games in these servers despite those commitments. At the end of the day, most people seeking a Nintendo Switch emulator are looking to play Nintendo games on it, but with the servers gone, it's hard to prove either way. Even if Suyu and Sudachi were infringing, Discord policy does not suggest it would permaban, much less nuke entire services on the first offense. Discord did not answer questions about whether or not these users were repeat copyright infringers, had received any previous warnings, or forwarded any takedown requests. Sudachi developer Jared Norwell tells me it came out of the blue. Their first email was that my account had broken the toss with no additional information. He claims Sudachi wasn't doing anything infringing. Later, he was told it vaguely had something to do with the intellectual property, but says Discord still hasn't given him any details. And he's got a screenshot of a tweet there. Oh, that's an actual active tweet. DMCA takedown requests are traditionally about content, not people or groups of people, and Discord's policies written to reflect that. A valid takedown request has to include a description of the content that's infringing and where to find it. A platform then takes down the content and users can get it reinstated if they file a counter notice that claims it wasn't actually infringing. At that point, Discord has done its job and Nintendo can sue the developer directly if it wants by using the counter notice to track them down. But that doesn't seem to be what happens here. It looks like Discord simply deplatformed these emulators by nuking their communication channels, because that works. That absolutely, positively, 100% works. And these people are not going to be on a private IRC server. They're absolutely not running a closed Discord server. And I can guarantee you they aren't emailing each other. They aren't communicating over Skype. They don't have a private Facebook group. And they're certainly not discussing this in private conversations on Twitter. Good job to Discord and Nintendo. You have completely shut off the flow of information. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Well done. And while the court order that Discord mentions does ban some third parties from providing marketing, advertising, promoting, or otherwise trafficking in Yuzu or any source code or features of Yuzu, it's specifically talking about third parties acting in active concert with and participation with defendant. Discord would not tell me that any of the Yuzu developers were connected to the Suyu or Sudachi projects. At the end of the day, platforms like Discord have no obligation to host anything they don't want to host. That's also very true. As we discussed back when GitLab did something similar by deplatforming Suyu's code, and perhaps Discord did see evidence of software piracy in those Discord. That's not currently how it's justifying these channel wipes, though. For some Suyu developers, this may have been the last straw. An insider tells me that after infighting, one group is splintered off to do its own projects, which may or may not be related to emulation. There's a paste bin where a real Suyu developer claims core development team left the project because of Suyu's radioactivity and its allegedly egotistic leader. That's something else can hop up in small software development circles. The leader does tend to bark out orders from what insiders have shown me. Sudachi's developer, meanwhile, tells me he's still working on all of his projects. Nintendo is isn't just targeting Switch emulators with its latest round of takedowns, but also some of the tools that aid them. It sent DMCA takedown request to GitHub to remove 27 forks of the SIG patch updater, as well as Lockpick RCM, Keples NX, and Incognito RCM, which helps Switch owners and developers obtain encryption keys. So there is some tabletop news. And I personally, obviously, in case you couldn't tell, I'm pretty hot about that. I'm pretty hot about that. As far as the rightness of emulators, I'm glad I have at least a couple of supers tonight, because I'm going to abso-goddamn-lutely emulators should. I don't care if the titles still exist. I don't care if I can walk into Walmart right now and buy a Nintendo Switch cart. If my Nintendo Switch goes on the fritz, if it goes halfway on the fritz, and getting my save game data back is only possible through using an emulator, I don't care what the status of the software is. All an emulator is a simulation of extant hardware. Emulators have existed at least at least as far back, maybe further, than the creation of the IBM S360. Do you know when the engineers showed off the 360 to the corporate suits, they said, what are we going to do with all this power? Folks, this is 1960s. This is in the 1960s. Do you know what the first thing they did was? They wrote a hypervisor and emulated an operating IBM S360 on the IBM S360 at near clock speed. Emulation is good. Emulation is right. Emulation is proper. I don't care about the availability of the software. No one creating an emulator is creating it solely for the purpose of piracy. Look, I don't like handheld consoles, but if there's something on the Switch that I want, who cares if I go out and buy a Switch just to get the ROMs off of, and then park it in its dock to sit there and look cool on my desk and play the games on my PC or Mac or tablet or phone. I remember when I first saw MAME back in the 1990s, and it emulated 5 games. There were like 6 or 8 other emulators that were dedicated just to single ROM cores. Now, Doomsword brings up an interesting thing about MAME. MAME got merged with a program called MESS. MESS is a computer emulator. MESS covers all kinds of desktop computers, and it's branched out into mini frame computers too. MESS is really damn important, and I'm going to tell you why. For one piece of emulation that MESS can do that I have not seen accomplished anywhere. Now, again, MESS is part of MAME, so you can do all this through MAME. So if I say MESS and MAME concurrently, that's what I mean. DOSBox runs about everything except Amiga. Engine Joe, I bet you could get DOSBox to run an old copy of Frodo, which was a DOS-based Amiga emulator. I bet you could do it. Be neat to try. Anyway, so once upon a time, there were these really powerful computers called Silicon Graphics. They still exist in name only. They haven't made a piece of hardware in almost 20 years. I mean, a real bespoke piece of we grew our own chips hardware. Silicon graphics machines were probably the most important computers in terms of the growth, the boom of the information age through the 90s. Good evening, Ultra American. Good evening, Vince Snedderton. SGIs were incredibly important. And they were horribly expensive. Now, despite what you may have said, I have not seen any intergraph machines, Orbital. But anyway, back to SGI. There was vital research done on those machines. And despite what you may have read in a William Gibson novel, yes, silicon does wear out. There are custom ICs. You go watch Adrian Black or any number of guys working on old Macintoshes. Like, I hope, and they'll tell you, oh, I hope it's not this IC. If that dies, it's game over. This company doesn't exist anymore. When they're talking about weird hard drive controllers and weird video adapters and stuff like that. And that's just for funsies. There is important work that SGI machines did that we might want to hang on to. And as those machines go away, if it becomes important to get that data back one day, how are you going to do it? There's an SGI emulator in MESS. It's slow, even on exceptionally fast modern hardware. I think that at last look, a 10th gen i9 ran it at quarter speed. And those machines ran, baseline SGI machines ran at like 66 megahertz, the indies. Bye-bye, Wheeling Dragon. Now, the guys who developed that, what they call a driver for MESS for SGI machines, they don't care if it ever goes any faster. Their issue is, does this cycle exactly emulate an SGI? When a program is running, does it encounter something in that virtual machine that it would have encountered on real hardware? Can we trap every function of the actual SGI hardware? Speed be damned. That is important. That is very important. In the 1980s, the British government undertook a massive and admirable project to record the entire history, geography, linguistics, culture studies, everything of the British Isles. And they recorded it all to laser discs. The laser discs are fine. The computers that they were going to read them with, Acorn Electron and BBC machines, 99% of those were sent off to landfills. There is a wealth of historical data that's not 50 years old. Without emulation, they wouldn't be able to get that data back. Now, people are asking about, oh, but what about Temple of the Sun? And I'll tell you something. I think that is entirely disingenuous. All right. There's nothing hidden or secret about Temple of the Sun. You can get the AD&D version on the web there. The slightly different Castles and Crusades version that we had to de-AD&D and de-Greyhawkify. There's really not much difference. If you want to hold it up to the emulation versus our computer game comparison, it's like the version that was available had different music and slightly different sprites than the version that was released later. Children of the Sun, that's up to you. You'll have to take that up with Elektra Records. I can't help you. Well, Ryan, and I get where you're coming from, but that's my take on it. There are people who do argue, who will. I mean, that fucker Jack Valenti. You know, he called VCRs and tape players like just they're criminal. If you own one of these, you're a criminal. That you can go look it up. But anyway, that's my hot take on this. And I think they're going to find, I think they're going to find very soon. What is that? I think they're going to find very soon that they're not going to be able to just smother something and make it go away because they say they want it to go away. At least I hope that's the case. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll make it go away. I don't know. I honestly don't. QPF, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's impossible to get it back in. And I mean, you know, this goes back to something I was talking to Tim Imholt about this. Doom Sword, exactly. So TSR, they pretty much believed that anything that anybody created, I'm going all the way back, the stuff that Judges Guild did bothered TSR. TSR and Mayfair had an agreement, and TSR still sued Mayfair over that agreement to create third-party AD&D stuff. TSR, they said, stands for They Sue Regularly. And damn if they didn't. Damn if they didn't. So TSR sued Mayfair and lost. And the reason they sued Mayfair and lost was because the judge cited another case. Or rather, another case was cited. I shouldn't say the judge cited another case. Another case was cited because a few years before, there was a game, which I'm sure you guys have probably all heard of. You may have played it. Called Trivial Pursuit. And it was so hot, everybody wanted in on the action. And so a company released a set of cards and a new set of wedges. And the company making Trivial Pursuit sued them. And in short, the judge said, look, you can copyright the presentation of game mechanics. You cannot copyright game mechanics. I mean, the first platformer game, and I don't think it was Donkey Kong. Maybe it was crap, what was it on the Apple II? Lode Runner, maybe, possibly. Something like that. But there's many examples of platformers. Nintendo cannot copyright platformer games. Ryan David says Trivia Adventure was superior anyway. So I've seen this before. Unfortunately, Nintendo has much deeper pockets than TSR did, and I don't think Nintendo is going to implode like TSR did and have to be bailed out by Hasbro. You know what? Let's look at something. By the way, we're at 5,647 subscribers on the channel, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you all very much. I mean, I could be happier. We could be at 57,047, but no, it's thank you all, everyone. Not many are as old as me around these parts. I do. I remember when Metallica tried to sue the internet. That was funny. But let me see if I can find this here. I probably can't. Not in a hurry. All right, so Hasbro's market cap is $7.72 billion. Do you guys want to know what Nintendo's market cap is? Without Googling, none of you are allowed to Google this. Without Googling, if the first person who gets closest, I will 3D print you something. You have to be in the States, dude. It'll cost me $50 to ship it, even to like Canada. The first of my American friends who can get close to what Nintendo's market cap is. And Tim, you're exempt from this. You probably know it off the top of your head. 46 billion, 25 billion, 40 billion, 500 billion. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, you guys might be close. I was looking at the yen value. I was like, holy crap. Ryan abstains. 56, 40 billion, 25 billion. Okay, I'm going to call it because I have seen somebody get close. Tim, you should have stuck to your guns, but Engine Joe got the closest. Their market cap is $58 billion. I think probably at their peak, TSR's market cap was probably like $20 million. and Hasbro's is 7 billion. They'd feel it. There'd be a lot of raised eyebrows, but yeah, Nintendo could absolutely swallow Hasbro. So there's no TSR fall coming for Nintendo, and not in our lifetimes. All right, so Engine Joe, email me and I will print you up. I will print you. I will print you an owl bear if you like, or if you don't want an owl bear, let me know. Yeah, Apple is 2 trillion. See, I was looking at the yen value, and I was like, I didn't even notice it was yen, but it just said like 9.7 trillion, and I was like, holy crap, Nintendo is big. So yeah, Engine Joe, shoot me an email. You're quite welcome. Let me know, and I will send you out an owl bear, or perhaps some owl bears, plural. Daniel, yes, Daniel, you were close with 11 billion. Somebody said 500 billion. That's big. Yeah, BlackRock is 113 billion. That is so close. Like you and Tim, Ryan, were very, very close. But anyway, the point is, so what was there? All the way back, do you guys know, all the way back in January of 2015, January 29th of 2015, Nintendo's market cap was only $11 billion. It's gone up a little bit since people got shut up in their houses for 2 years. I wonder why. Yo-Yo Dine's market cap is absolute value of negative $I, Monkey Boy. BlackRock is an investment group with an eye towards ESG, Michael. I'm going to need lots of super chats for tonight, guys. Please. Just from the bottom of my heart, I beg you. Stephen John Hippie, good evening. We may be some of the only sane people. Oh, if it's that bad out there, then... Laugh while you can, Monkey Boy. My favorite line in that, people are like, oh, it's no matter where you go, there you are. And, laugh all you can, Monkey Boy. No, my favorite line in there is Lithgow saying, shut up, John Pig Booty, you coward. You are the weakest specimen I ever know. I love that. Dirty History and Hobby wants it on records. He has nothing bad to say about BlackRock. You will be given a pod higher up in the high stack, Dirty History and Hobbies. Demolition Man is a lot of fun. Have you seen the Venn diagram? It's like Brave New World, 1984, Demolition Man, Fahrenheit 451, Idiocracy, Fallout, Mad Max, and then there's like another one over there. And at the overlap point, it just says, "You are here." So John Lithgow told this story. I'm going to tell this one, and then I kind of gotta look at Scooty. Well, it's only 9:30. I can go on for a few moments. There kind of was another Buckaroo Banzai movie, sort of, kind of, and it was equally awesome. Also written by W.D. Richter, and that was, of course, the incredible Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, there should be a Buckaroo Banzai board game would not suck. Ryan, oh man. Well, I know you got to go, brother. Take care. Be well. But anyway, so John Lithgow has had a varied career. He has done many genres and many movies, and he was the bad guy in let me see. Let me make sure I got the movie title right. I know the story, but I got to make sure I got the movie title right. Character is what you are in the dark. Thank you, Lord Coriana. I appreciate that. Boomflyer, haven't seen you in a moon or two. Welcome back. Yes, Peter Weller is a professor of Roman history. Anyway, so Blowout was the movie. He played the bad guy in Blowout. Now, if you know anything about filming movies, they start early. Like if they got to shoot night scenes, they'll just get your ass up at 4:00 in the morning because the sun ain't up yet, particularly if it's summer. Thank you, Tim. So, the movie Blowout comes out, and he plays a stone cold killer in Blowout. But every day he'd rented an apartment in New York for the filming of the movie. And every day he'd get up at 3 a.m. to go down to get makeup on and to go, and they'd shoot movie stuff until, noon and 2, whatever. And then he'd come home. But he was always leaving and coming home at weird times of the day and night when other people were not. And again, he had, he had been the bad guy in this movie. Well, finally, the movie, he's just running out the rent on this place, waiting for another project. And one morning, he comes out of his apartment. The movie is out. He's the villain in it. He comes out of his apartment halfway down the hall towards the elevator that's the end of this hall. This woman comes out. And he turns and looks at her, and she goes pale and starts quickly walking towards the elevator. And Lithgow's like, okay. So he just starts stalking, that Lithgow look he can do, just affectless, just walking towards her as she gets down to the end of the hallway, and she's like frantically mashing the elevator button, gets in, and he's like 10 feet away, 6 feet away, 5 feet away when the doors finally close, and he like opens up his stride to step forward just as the doors are closing. And when they close, he hears this scream from inside the elevator. You got to appreciate that kind of a screwed up sense of humor. I mean, John Lithgow is always the bad guy, even when it's not apparent. Hello, the Dave. Speaking of people that are going to be on the show in the coming weeks, the Dave will be on the show. He'll be talking about Sunflower, but We'll talk about that at the appropriate time. But I love that. I love that Lithgow story. Yes, it's Nancy Allen, and at least I think it's Nancy Allen. I know Lithgow and Travolta are in it. Yes, Travolta, Nancy Allen, John Lithgow, and Dennis Franz. But anyway, so that's about it. I'm going to open up the floor for just a couple of minutes, guys, for just a few minutes, because I got an AD&D game to do here very, very soon. Does anyone have any D&D related questions for me? Anything at all? Anything D&D related at all? Fire it off and ask the Delver, and the Delver will respond. The Delver will respond to your questions. The Boulder is no longer emotionally conflicted. Nancy Allen was in RoboCop, but that's not a D&D question. What class am I playing Wednesday? I think I was just playing a fighter. I got the stats from an online generator to do something like Ranger-ish, I think, but like I wasn't loving those stats just because it felt weird. So I got physical dice and re-rolled my character for Kyle. And for the L, am I going to do you? I'm confused. The Boulder is always emotionally stable. Always first edition. Mod Hunter, always, always, always first edition. As it says on the tin over on Twitter, first edition AD&D only. No politics. Oh, the L series. Okay, I was confused. Doomsword trying to make me late for my game. Friday's game. Doom's just yanking my chain. How do I handle divine intervention God calls? Just by the book, just like Gary laid it out and Jim Ward clarified. Base 25% chance if the character is acting in direct accordance with the god, and then you adjust up or down for charisma, adherence to alignment, adherence to the god, have they called before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All humans are unalived. I need D&D, but I must use AI to holographically DM or be players. Who am I playing with? Gary. And then a whole bunch of my IRL friends. Good night, Mark. Take care. The U series, I'll have to get physical copies of the U series, but I could probably be talked into talking about the U series. Yeah, they're reiteration of the ones in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Yes. Yes, if players play that long, absolutely, I will adjust for age. What issue of Dragon has the hit location? I don't know that one. I know there was one in Supplement 2 Blackmore. It's not good. I don't recommend you use it. But yes, I played with attribute adjustments. In fact, on Monday night, I had someone who saw a ghost and she came that close because she lost, I think it was 15 years to ghost aging, and she came that close to having a strength point loss, but she has not. Dave, the answer is both. Thank you, Stephen John Hippie. Take care. Peace. Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. We've already. I did a deep dive on that a long time ago. A long time ago. Yeah. Salt Marsh didn't come in the Salt Marsh module. Kind of like how there's no nulb in T1 to 4. That'd be irritating. Holodeck. Oh man, can you imagine if we got a holodeck and like our first thing was Minecraft? No, I don't, CPG. If someone else DM'd, would I play Expedition at the Barrier Peaks? Yes, I would, absolutely. I'd have to find time to do it. The only reason I hesitated is I feel like on the one hand, I'd want to level a character up over the time that it would do that. On the other hand, that could be years of play. But yes, given the opportunity, I would play. Tomb of the Lizard King is a good one. D&D on the holodeck would be fun. Captain, I must protest. I am not a merry man. Do I prime my minis? Yes, I do. Color, it depends. Most of the time, it's white and it's brush on. And I use Vallejo. I will show you on camera the white brush on primer generally that I use. Vallejo model color, white. I thin it up so I get a nice thin coat on it. You are quite welcome, Jay Tyler. And I'll go about 5 more minutes, guys. And then I really do got to scoot. I got some AD&D to play tonight. So any more questions? Any more questions, guys? Any questions at all? Please feel free to ask me. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Dave. I'll tell you what I did do today. I did some writing today, and I felt really accomplished. It took me a good chunk of the day, but I was very, 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 very happy about it. Timothy, be well. Everybody subscribe to Tim M. Holt's channel. Do I ever write all the time, Pastel Fox? All the time. I have 5 or 6 modules floating out there in the ether you can track down. I have written scenarios for the the Tuesday game. I have written scenarios for friends and family to run all the time. Favorite game that involves using minis as part of the gameplay? Space Hulk. That was easy. Ask me a hard one. Hey, I think there's always a chance for someone to pick something up, Alan. So please hop in. We're going to be doing some character creation and some simple kind of stuff. I think anyone could get could get stuff out of it. Yeah. Yeah, Space Hulk is a blast. Wilford Brimley would probably fighter cleric, maybe. I know you're just shit trolling Command Post games, but it's okay. Mass unit combat in AD&D. A bard named Napster. I like that. I don't know. Timothy's got it pretty good with Tarth Nose Rage. That's Kabuki. That's mean. That's so mean. How can you ask me a question like that? What's my favorite color in D&D? Yellow. Funniest character name ever. Yeah, Tarth Nose Rage. That's fine. That's absolutely fine, Command Post. I do not mind. I don't know, Kabuki. I guess to game with Robin Williams, and I would run the damn thing in Dragonlance just so I wouldn't have to worry about, like, how did a Kender wind up in Greyhawk? I couldn't. Swiftness of a cat's foot on a clear moonless night. Cat foot for short. Awesome. Yeah, I think it would be tough. I'm not going to launch into it now because it would take me probably well over time, but there's a fun story about a game store owner who was barged in on after he had closed up the shop by Robin Williams and Billy Crystal and their kids buying a bunch of D&D and 40K stuff back in the 90s. So yes, I did, Michael Dale. I did ask Margaret Weiss if she could come on the show, and she doesn't like to do this interview format, so she will not be appearing. They slow for D&D. I think they slow the game down. They slow the game down so much. D&D is a fast-paced hack and slash kind of game. And I just think hit chart, slow it down too much. I mean, Ranger goes in, 8th level Ranger in a room full of kobolds, gets 8 attacks, 16 attacks, 8 attacks, 16 attacks. He's killing a kobold every time he hits him. Do you want to introduce 2-hit charts into that? I don't. Anyway, that's about going to do it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Listen, thank you all for hanging out so much. I really appreciate it, guys. We've got a great week ahead of us. Mark Morrison, Vaughn Gifford, Lord Coron, thank you so much for the supers. I do appreciate that a ton. Guys, if you want to support the show, I made the banner go away too soon. If you want to support the show, you can support us on Patreon. You can support us on YouTube membership. And for as little as $1 or $2 a month. At the $10 level, however, every month you'll receive a miniature in length, not in size, not in dimensions, a miniature length, a short length first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons module penned by yours truly. I really appreciate it. So if you want to support the show that way, you absolutely can. But regardless, guys, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the bell icon. And if you're watching this later, leave a comment below and tell me what you think. And I'll do my best to respond to it. It varies, Daniel. Sometimes 8-10 pages, sometimes as little as 3 or 4. It's just gonna depend. No, I've done 6, 8, 10 rooms before, Daniel. Anyway, again, guys, have a wonderful evening. Love you all. Be good to each other. And by all means, please keep your eyes peeled for the dreaded owl bears. Good night. Have you seen my owl bear? His
says to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air, have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.